What you doing, Pancho? You doing okay? You Mr. Pancho. You Mr. Pancho. Everybody loves Mr. Pancho. Everybody loves Mr. Pancho. 'Cause Mr. Pancho got a spaceship. Hey, Mr. Pancho. Come here, Mr. Pancho. Mr. Pancho.
Mr. Pancho, loved and revered in his home village. He was a celebrity, and everyone loved him. He was dashing, charming, and oh so coveted among the hot kittens, and the hot lads were envious but didn't let it show, because Pancho had a spaceship. And nobody gave Pancho no trouble at all. He would get in his spaceship and crank it up and take his chancel at perfection. He would choose a spot that he thought would be nice and not too hot. And he would come home. And sometimes he would have tales. See, Pancho never told much about his tales. We had to learn all we could from artifacts on Pancho's spaceship, which we have been allowed to study in great detail. Even though Pancho doesn't tell anything about his tales, we have learned enough to bring them back to you. And we firmly believe that we're telling you pretty much the tale that Pancho told, even though he didn't tell nobody nothing. Only kinda, we made a promise that we wasn't gonna tell nobody about the spaceship unless they'd already took a ride. Or something like that. But Pancho had some rules. He didn't let everybody know about the spaceship, and he didn't like being bugged about it when he was trying to be himself in his little cat village. Pancho liked the fact that he had this nice little world, and he had a spaceship. And when he wanted to go somewhere, well, he would go. Mr. Pancho is sailing in his ship. His ship rocks back and forth, and Pancho has cushy spots all about. And when he's rested and ready, he takes him a nibble of a treat and stares in the glistening triangular viewfinder that looks like a great big picture window in a huge cottage, except his cottage window is a spaceship or something, and it's beautiful and easy for Pancho to observe. It is a most odd shape. It looked to be as a pearl surrounded by jewels of blue and gold. But it was a planet of sorts, and Pancho was heading straight away, and the glare from the planet was blinding, especially in one particular spot. And the chancellor of perfection guided the ship safely out of the harm's way of the extreme glare of the planet. It was a dazzlingly beautiful planet, but very bright and shiny. And the chancellor angled down just a bit and decided to go to lower orbit as it ever increasingly got closer to this jeweled planet. Upon closer inspection, Pancho discerns that he can land just beneath the light, as the light hovers over another object, which may or may not be attached to the light. It's hard to tell, but the spaceship discerns that it's a landing spot, and it's headed there straight away, and Pancho is just watching the whole affair as the ship guides itself, always in a perfect manner. As far as Pancho is concerned, it's just like a nice little rocking chair. And they get closer and closer, and soon they land. The most intriguing place. It looks like an entire world made of moss. And Pancho decides to park and opens the door and decides to have a stroll. And Pancho had a nice little nap, and the ship parked itself into a corner, and they would stay there until Pancho's nap was adjourned, or to something perhaps that he yearned would bring him back into the ship. Most likely it was his bag of treats that he kept just on the left cubicle, and Pancho knew exactly the spot, and he didn't tell nobody, not anybody else at all. But Pancho was still napping in this wondrous planet or land that Pancho's ship has embarked us upon is of great interest, as the ship's log is automatically kept, and it discerns it to be a rare occurrence, what they is observing.